Alright, so I thought I'd go ahead and do this. I've been asked a couple times. I've actually talked about this a lot on many different podcasts, things like that. So, how I got into the paranormal. I actually didn't want anything to do with the paranormal. Many years ago, I wasn't even a teenager. My parents had moved into a house. Now, this house was actually originally owned by my grandparents. My grandfather had the house like custom made or something like that, but he did a lot of brickwork on the house too, so he had his hand involved in the house. Now, it wasn't like somebody died or anything crazy like that happened on the property. I grew up in the suburbs, middle class, upper middle class neighborhood, very clean neighborhood, very quiet. So, I mean, it's not like, we were like in some shitty part of town. But anyways, I'm trying to make a long story short. A certain family member before we moved in there, and it was not my grandparents, but it was another family member, got into some dark stuff and invited something in. My grandparents moved out. This person stayed behind. Some other family moved in, and the other family member who was with my grandparents, again, they stayed, whatever. They started noticing some weird stuff or whatever. They ended up moving. Other people bought the house. I don't even think they had it for a year. They ended up moving out, and then along come us. So, anyways, I don't want to go into a whole lot of detail. I want to keep this short. Anyhow, it was bad. It sucked. It was demonic. It wasn't pleasant. A lot of it was more psychological than physical, although there were some physical things that did happen to some of the people in my family. Nothing really physical happened to me. Well, I did get literally yanked out of my bed one time, but other than that, it was more of a psychological thing. So anyways, I grew up in a Christian, I'm not super Christian, but my grandmother, who recently passed away, she was just like, she was a Bible thumper. I'm not gonna lie. God rest her soul. She was horrible about like talking about like stuff in the Bible and things like that. I mean, it was like she would use it as a freaking weapon. So, grew up in the thought of there are no ghosts, and it's all demons, because that's what she said, and according to the Bible, and whatever. So, I honestly thought, there were no such things as ghosts. It was all demons, and that was that. So, it took, I think, three tries to get rid of whatever was in the house. And the third time worked, but there were still some things. There was still something there, but it wasn't as bad as what it was. Here and there, it would, let us know, hey, I'm still around, but it wasn't bad. So, anyhow, fast forward a few years later, I'm with a friend of mine, and we're at a restaurant that I won't name. It's not even open anymore, but I'm not going to name it. Teenagers went there, to hang out and act like adults and drink coffee. So I was there with a buddy of mine, and he was kind of teasing me a little bit about the situation at the house. The whole ghost thing, whatever. So, whatever, making fun of me, which no big deal. I knew he was joking around, but he got up to go use the bathroom, and on his way to the bathroom, he ran into some other people that he knew, and he just started talking to them, and somebody in the booth behind us got up, came over to me, and said, hey, I kind of heard, you and your buddy talking about house being haunted, and, he wanted me to tell him all about it, and I'm like, nope, don't want to talk about it. I have no idea who this guy is. This guy was, he was in his 20s. I was 14. I believe I was 14 at the time. Yeah, I was definitely 14 at the time. I didn't, I'm like, what the hell does this guy want? I'm barely a teenager, and I got this 20-some-odd-year-old dude asking me questions. Like, what was he going to try to do? Kidnap me or something? What the hell? So he's like, I'll tell you what, you tell me and, my friends, because this is what we do. We're paranormal investigators, trying to explain it, and I just, like, in one ear out the other. I didn't care. But he's like, we'll take you on a couple of our investigations as long as we think they're safe, and you can tell us, about it, about what you experienced, because we're interested, and you'll get to really see what it's like. I turned it down, wanted nothing to do with it. He didn't push really hard. And he's like, all right, and he sat back down, and that was that. A couple of weeks later, I ran into him again at a gas station, and he threw the same offer out. He was sort of pushy, so I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. And I gave him a phone number thinking I'll never hear from him again, and that was that. And it wasn't even that long later, I get a phone call. Dad's like, hey, some dude's on the phone. So, I get the phone, and there's the guy, Bill. He's like, hey, we're going out this weekend. We think you should be all right. The deal's still on. Where do you live? I'm like, oh, man. But I had already committed. I already said I would. So I'm like, whatever, I'll do it. But I was scared to death. So I had to tell them, I had to lie to my parents. I didn't think they were going to let me do it. There's no way they would have let me. So I just told them, oh, excuse me. Sorry, guys. I just told them that, hey, I'm going to go spend the night at a friend's house. Parents or something's going to pick me up. And they're like, okay, whatever. And off I went. And I didn't do anything during that investigation. I did talk about what was going on and what I had experienced in the house. But doing so while I was there, while they were investigating, I never noticed, like nothing happened. And then I went again, and then again, and then it just, kept going, and then I was just a part of the group. I wanted nothing to do with it, but I just kind of got pulled into it. I made new friends, although they were older than me at the time. I mean, the leads, Jeff and Linda, both married, they were in their like 50s. Everybody else was either rocking their 30s or their early to mid 20s, and I was what they would call the baby of the group. So yeah, that's how that happened. I remember, probably I think about a year, I would say, give or take, is when they actually finally let me go off with somebody else and investigate. They wanted to make sure that I was well trained and I was confident and had a good idea of what I was doing. So yeah, that's it. That's how I got into the paranormal. And if anybody's interested, I got all kinds of crazy paranormal stories. I got some funny things too that has happened to me during investigations. If you're around me long enough, strange things happen. Like, it's funny. Like, the weirdest things happen. I'm not talking paranormal. Just certain things happen when people are around me a lot. And it's kind of funny because how we say, hey, you hang out with me long enough, yeah, you're going to see some crazy shit. So I don't know why that is, but a couple of my friends have experienced that kind of thing with me. So, but yeah, guys, that's it. Like I said, if anybody's interested in hearing any other crazy things that I've experienced, anything funny, whatever it is, I guess that's what the comments are for. So anyhow, guys, that's it.